we ready to start? Ready to go?
No, it's not time yet, Matt. We start at 2. It's only 1:55 now. You still have 5 minutes. What's the matter?
I didn't bring my watch today, and I thought I might be a little bit late, so I didn't want to.
Really? Do you usually feel like that? Like, do you usually have anxieties over being late or being on time?
Yeah, I worry about it a lot. I worry about getting to a place on time. I don't want to, have other people waiting, have other people, worried about where I am, maybe.
I didn't really worry about you. But really, okay, so what do you usually do when you have this kind of anxiety?
Well, because I have anxiety about being late for stuff, I usually end up getting to places too early. So often when I meet friends, I end up having to wait for them for a long time because clearly most of my friends don't have this same anxiety and they're usually late.
Sorry, I'm one of those people.
You're one?
Yes. But I think people have anxieties over different things. Like for me, I think I always worry about not doing my job well. So I always over prepare. So then I know that I will be okay.
Okay, so it's kind of the same as how I overcompensate. I arrive too early because I'm worried about not doing well myself.
That's right. But today we're not talking about just anxieties over anything. We're talking about climate anxiety and what we can do to help ourselves. Let's get into it.
Today, our world faces a huge number of environmental problems. As issues like droughts and industrial pollution become more serious, it's only natural that people will worry more about the state of the world. Almost everyone has concerns like these, so you're not alone if you sometimes feel upset or sad about how humans have hurt the natural environment. But for some people, these worries can develop into a more serious psychological problem called climate anxiety.
Hi everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. I am Karen.
And I'm Matt. And today we're looking at part 1 of how to manage climate anxiety.
That's right. So we talked about anxiety, right? What is an anxiety?
Okay, so anxiety is a feeling of nervousness or feeling anxious, we'd also say. So it's feeling at unease because of something that might go wrong or something bad that might happen. So for example sentence, we can say, I've been feeling a lot of anxiety over the wedding.
So you've been feeling maybe you have a lot of worries over the wedding. Maybe some things might not go right, and then you might forget to invite us like an important friend.
Maybe your family won't like the other person's family and they're going to be fighting. I don't know. So there's a lot to worry that could go wrong.
So how to manage the climate anxiety. So manage is kind of like deal with it, right? So if you have a problem of this anxiety issue, what do you do? Climate anxiety. Let's find out what it is. Today, our world faces a huge number of environmental problems as issues like droughts and industrial pollution become more serious. It's only natural that people will worry more about the state of the world. Okay, so I understand a lot of people are worried about the environmental issues. That means how healthy our Earth is, right?
Yeah. So things like a drought might, those droughts and industrial pollution are things that might affect you in your daily life. So that's something you definitely worry about. And a drought means that there's no water, no rain. So not enough rain, so maybe not enough water for people to use or for trees to grow.
And that's a very serious problem, right? And we also have this vocabulary word here, industrial, and that is an adjective. Basically, just having something to do with making goods or services by industry. So industrial pollution is like maybe making stuff in the industry and then they're making actually in the factory. It causes a lot of pollution, right? So for example, the machine is too expensive to use at home, but it's well suited for industrial use.
Okay, so probably a big machine or something like that, you wouldn't want it in your house.
That's right.
Okay, so the article continues. Almost everyone has concerns like these. So you're not alone if you sometimes feel upset or sad about how humans have hurt the natural environment.
And that is true. And to be honest, I have climate anxiety as well.
You do? Okay.
You know, I do feel worried and then worry about the future. What's going to happen? Because, like you know, I have a daughter. So she's only 6 right now. And then now watching the news every day and learning about, you know, all the pollution. What's gonna happen in the future? We don't know.
That's right. Yeah, we don't know. And I guess I don't have children, so I don't worry as much. But you know, I do actually have, my sister has children, so I have a niece and nephew who will be growing up in this environment, and you know, I also wonder how it's going to be for them.
And it should be really, really scary, I would assume. I don't know. Okay, well, let's continue. But for some people, these worries can develop into a more serious psychological problem called climate anxiety. So you don't just worry about it a little bit. You really worry about so much that it turns into a more serious psychological problem, like something in your mind, right?
Okay, so it's not just being sad or worried, because it's a serious psychological problem. So yeah, that's right, as you said, in your mind, because psychological means to do with things in your mind or with your emotions.
That's right.
So when you have psychological problems, there's something wrong with your thinking or with how you feel. So maybe you feel too sad or too happy sometimes. So an example sentence says, Terry's psychological pain comes from his time serving in the military.
I think a lot of people go through the same thing if they serve in the military. Maybe because they have seen so many terrible incidents, maybe friends dying or something like that, or fighting in a war, and these things cause a lot of problems, and then maybe they cannot sleep at night, and maybe they overthink about a lot of things, right?
Yeah, so just another kind of psychological problem, like having the experience in the military. The environment, the climate anxiety can also cause these kinds of problems for people.
Exactly. So what do we do? I don't know.
What?
I have an anxiety over this.
Well, hopefully we'll find out more after the break.
Okay.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这2天的课程是关于 How to manage climate anxiety， 如何克服气候焦虑。那么 anxiety 这个名词就表示焦虑啊、忧虑或是不安。它的形容词是 anxious， 形容焦虑的、忧虑的或是急切的。Matt 老师他在解释单字时用到 unease， U-N-E-A-S-E 这个名词可以表达不安的意思。好，课文写到说，我们的世界面临着大量的环境问题。那随着干旱啊、工业污染等等的问题越来越严重，人们自然就会更加担心世界的情况。几乎每个人都有这些担忧，可是对有些人来说，这些担忧可能会发展成更严重的心理问题，称为气候焦虑，也就是 climate anxiety。好，我们来看单字 industrial， 它是形容词，形容工业的、产业的或是工业化的。那么 psychological 它是形容心理的、精神的，也可以形容是心理学的。介绍课文中。
Climate anxiety, also known as eco-anxiety, is defined as a sense of helplessness or fear related to environmental issues, particularly climate change. In 2021, researchers surveyed residents of 10 countries and found that around 45% of people aged 16 to 25 suffered daily from negative emotions brought on by environmental concerns. With so many problems facing our world, these kinds of feelings are understandable. However, it's important not to let negative thoughts affect your quality of life. Although there are collective challenges we all face, as individuals, we are far from helpless. We all need to try our best to care for our mental health while also trying to have a positive influence on others and the world around us.
Welcome back. We're continuing to talk about climate anxiety and how to manage it. So in the first part, we've learned that some people that worry too much about the environment may develop something that's called climate anxiety.
That's right, and I have climate anxiety. I do worry about what's going to happen to our Earth, right? Okay, well, let's find out if there's anything we can do. Climate anxiety, also known as eco-anxiety, is defined as a sense of helplessness or fear related to environmental issues, particularly climate change. So that's why it's called climate anxiety, right? You're talking about the climate change that's going on in the world, right? Some places in the world, the temperature, the weather is changing because of global warming, right?
Yeah, I think that's a major environmental issue these days is people talk about climate change. So to have climate anxiety about climate change, it makes sense, I think.
That's right.
In 2021, researchers surveyed residents of 10 countries and found that around 45% of people aged 16 to 25 suffer daily from negative emotions brought on by environmental concerns.
Wow, that's actually a lot of people. And this is actually a young crowd that they did a survey on, 16 years old to 25, right?
Yeah,
so 45% of them actually suffer daily from these negative emotions. They feel really scared. They feel very stressed about these environmental concerns.
Yeah, so that's a interesting thing. I think that so much of the young population has these concerns. I wonder what the percentages would be in the older or even younger population.
I think maybe older. I'm just guessing. Maybe they don't care too much about it, or maybe they do, but maybe they feel like I only have a few more years left. I'm just joking. Okay, but we do have a vocabulary word here, researcher, and that is a noun. So basically, researchers are people who do like really careful, dedicated studies on certain topic, and then they try to gain information and try to find solutions to certain problems. So they do a lot of research. So for example, researchers have found that teachers tend to give girls higher marks than boys. Really? Or
That's why.
Maybe girls are just smarter.
That's why I didn't do well. That was it. It was because my teacher was
Really?
giving the good grades to the girls, so they couldn't give them to me.
I don't think that's the case.
Okay, we have another vocabulary word, which is to survey. So survey is a verb, and it means to find the opinions of people by asking questions. So usually when we say to survey, usually maybe there's been a questionnaire, or they phoned people, or you could even just have asked many people the same question to find out what is the feeling among those people. So we surveyed over 10,000 high school students to ask them about their attitudes toward money.
Okay, so by asking many people, you can kind of get an idea of what people think in general, right?
And I bet the high school students' attitude was, I want more money.
Of course. Okay, well, let's continue with the article. With so many problems facing our world, these kinds of feelings are understandable. However, it's important not to let negative thoughts affect your quality of life. So, negative thoughts, meaning like you're always thinking about something bad that could happen, right? Always thinking about them. It's like, oh no. And it's going to affect your quality of life. It's going to change how you live every single day, right?
Yeah, so you need to not think about the negative things and try and think about the positives, I think.
That's right.
Although there are collective challenges we all face as individuals, we are far from helpless. We all need to try our best to care for our mental health while also trying to have a positive influence on others and the world around us.
Well, I guess it sounds easy to do, but is it really easy though? I don't know.
You need to do your best, and that way you can think of it as not being helpless if you're doing your best to be positive to the world and to everyone else.
You're right. So if you're a very positive influence on me and then I hang around you all the time, then you could be a positive influence on me. You can kind of change, my negativity into something a little more positive, right?
Yeah, so it's like, raining a lot more this year because of climate change, but we'll have more water.
I guess you're right. So always surround yourself with positive people. It could change your life, right? Okay, well, we learned quite a lot about climate change today and climate anxiety, but we will be learning more in part 2.
Yeah, let's learn some more strategies in part 2 on how to manage your climate anxiety.
That's right. We'll see you next time.
气候焦虑又称为生态焦虑 Eco Anxiety， 那它是由字首 ECO， 这个 Eco 就是生态的，跟环境有关的，然后再加上焦虑 Anxiety 所组合而成。那这种焦虑被定义为跟环境问题，尤其是气候变迁有关的那种无助感啊，或者是恐惧感。在2021年，研究人员针对10个国家的居民进行调查，就发现啊，16到25岁的人当中，大约有45%每天都在承受环境问题所带来的负面情绪。好，单字 researcher 就是指研究人员或是调查员。Karen 老师提到说，研究人员会对特定主题做专门的研究。那么 dedicated。dedicated 这个形容词可以形容专门的、专用的，或是形容全心投入的、奉献的。下一个单字 survey， 它可以当动词或是当名词去表达调查，对什么来进行民意调查，或是有审视的意思。Matt 老师解释时有提到 questionnaire， 就是在 question 后面加上 n-a-i-r-e， 变成这个名词，它表示问卷的意思。好，那课文接着写到说，由于我们的世界面临着如此多的问题，这些感受是可以理解的，但是重要的是不要让负面想法影响到你的生活品质哦。这边3个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 with 加受词加受词补语，这样的句型可以用来说明原因或是表达附带状况。那么受词补语你可以用分词、形容词或介系词片语。如果是用分词当受词补语，我们就看看受词跟受词补语的关系，是主动就用 VING， 被动就是用 PP。我们来看2个例句。Kate walked in with a book in her hand. Kate 走进来，手里拿着一本书。这时候受词是 a book， 受词补语则是 in her hand， 是介系词片语。再来 with our bags packed, we're ready to hit the road. 我们的包包打包好，准备好要出发了。好，那这时候受词是 our bags， 那么受词补语是用 packed， 因为包包是被打包，所以用过去分词去表达。好，那第2个重点是 face 当动词，它有面临、面对或者是摆在什么眼前。我们来看看它的用法。第一种，你可以用 somebody be faced with something， 这用被动语态是表达说被迫面对困境或是难题。像 the team is faced with a new challenge， 那个团队遭遇到一个新的挑战。好，第2个用法是 somebody faces something， 这是用主动语态强调主动面对啊、正面迎击的意思。例如 they aren't ready to face the challenge， 他们还没准备好面临挑战。好，那第3个句型我们可以用 something faces somebody， 这时候主词是事物。例如 new challenges face us every day， 我们每天都面临着新的挑战。好，第3个重点是使役动词 let， 它的3态同形，意思是让或是允许。我们用 let 受词加原形动词去表达允许什么什么做某事，那它没有被动用法哦。例如 Lila's parents don't let her go out at night， Lila 的爸妈不允许她晚上出门。好，那么以上今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Today, our world faces a huge number of environmental problems. As issues like droughts and industrial pollution become more serious, it's only natural that people will worry more about the state of the world. Almost everyone has concerns like these, so you're not alone if you sometimes feel upset or sad about how humans have hurt the natural environment. But for some people, these worries can develop into a more serious psychological problem called climate anxiety. Climate anxiety, also known as eco-anxiety, is defined as a sense of helplessness or fear related to environmental issues, particularly climate change. In 2021, researchers surveyed residents of 10 countries and found that around 45% of people aged 16 to 25 suffered daily from negative emotions brought on by environmental concerns. With so many problems facing our world, these kinds of feelings are understandable. However, it's important not to let negative thoughts affect your quality of life. Although there are collective challenges we all face, as individuals, we are far from helpless. We all need to try our best to care for our mental health while also trying to have a positive influence on others and the world around us.
Fucheng, Lukang, and Mangka were the three major port cities in Taiwan during the Qing dynasty, where merchant vessels gathered and business flourished. Taiwanese singer Lo Ta-yu's song, Small Town Lukang, draws a vivid picture of Lukang from the perspective of a homesick traveler. Puto Street, Yaolin Street, and Dayou Street were adjacent to a river and thus became the main roads that accessed the dock area. Over time, this area developed into a hub for ship companies. The shops here had a commonality. They faced the streets and had the river as a backdrop. These shops did business on the streets and loaded merchandise from the back doors that led to the river. This phenomenon began to diminish after the river showed signs of siltation. What locals call Lukang Old Street is located in this area. Lukang Old Street includes a series of long streets and houses left over from the Qing dynasty. The houses are made of wood. They share walls, have great depth, and serve both residential and business purposes. The wooden doors and windows project a vintage ambiance, and the lintels and roof ridges are installed with antiques that supposedly ward off evil spirits. The curved alleys prevent strong winds and offer an advantage for defense, highlighting the wisdom of the original settlers. A walk along the red brick road will make you feel like you have gone back in time. Cheongsam, traditional women's dress, antique, and traditional toy shops line the streets, attracting many visitors. Traditional miancha and pastry shops also draw interest. The famous Lukang Matsu Temple serves as the religious center for locals. The wooden carvings and paintings on every beam were created by renowned craftsmen. The Lukang Longshan Temple and the Lukang Wenwu Temple are also popular attractions in Lukang that are well worth a visit. The simple atmosphere of Lukang Old Street and its rich history make it a memorable place to every visitor.